Vanderbilt is going to Tennessee as 2.5-point underdogs. Boy. I mean, Vanderbilt is knocking at the door of the college football playoffs. Vanderbilt in 2025 is knocking at the door of the college football playoffs. I think this Tennessee team is a little bit better than people will have you believe. So I think that this is a giant resume builder, for a Vanderbilt team that already has some pretty impressive wins this year. And Diego Pavia playing really good football, man. He had a great coaching staff, a great quarterback, and a supporting cast, the best of which we've seen at Vanderbilt in years since, the Jordan Rodgers, Jordan Matthews days, with James Franklin at Vanderbilt. Was that 2011? Like, this is the best supporting cast we've seen in a decade, more than a decade. In Tennessee, of course, I mean, people are going to be disappointed with the season. I think that injuries played a pretty key role in that in your secondary. And it's going to continue to play, a pretty significant role. Where are you at with this game, CD?
Yeah, it sucks, man. I've been waiting to see Jermon McCoy and some other guys get healthy for Tennessee. Good to see Wendell Moe back on the offensive line for him. I mean, we saw him flex their muscles in Gainesville. You got up 31-0 early, and you just kind of cruised. That would be nice if it would be just that so easy there. But Knoxville, I think, will be bumping. Obviously, playoff SEC, that's not necessarily in the cards here after a couple close losses to Georgia and Oklahoma. But you got to tip your hat here to this Tennessee staff to pivot the way they did after a tumultuous offseason, right? I mean, how many teams, like, we love the offseason. It's just the eternal optimism. It is just like, oh, here we go. We got better. Our recruiting classes, like our portal, our coaching hires, everything, like, and you're hearing their practice reports. Nobody had a worse, quote unquote, worse offseason than Tennessee did in terms of what happened. And they've pivoted and had a heck of a year, I think, and a chance to, like, cap it off with a heck of a win to beat your rival, to knock them out of the college football playoffs. It would be awesome. And of course, for Vanderbilt, the darling of college football, Clark Lee and everything he's done. Of course, Diego Pavia trying to fight for more eligibility. But at this point, let's just enjoy it while we can, because what he has done to Vanderbilt football, the SEC football, is just turn it on its head and give life to Nashville as a college football town. A lot will be on his shoulders. A lot will be on the shoulders of Joey Aguilar. I think whichever team has success running the football with their running backs, I'm looking at Deshaun Bishop, Star Thomas for Tennessee, and for Vanderbilt, can they have success on the ground? And can it just be more than, what Cedric Alexander, who's kind of died off recently, and some other guys have given them, I think, in recent weeks? Can they get it done? And of course, defensively, you talked about, like, both these teams have had struggles, and of course, Vanderbilt, maybe it's because of some injury, maybe it's because of talent wise in terms of athleticism matching up against some of these better teams in the SEC. And for Tennessee, it's a little bit of depth issues as coaching as well. And here we go. I think it should be pretty exciting. This will be a game that will be a lot of fun to watch, because I think it has a chance to be explosive, with the way these offenses go, of course, with how Pavia changes games in just an instant, and then Heupel and his offense and what they do with chunk play after chunk play. If I had to pick one here, I like Tennessee in this spot here. I think at home is a big deal. I think, not that they're playing for, anything, but I still think this game means a ton for them. That's the worst part about the playoff and the whole stigma and, propaganda that certain companies and media outlets have driven to some of these games in November, or if it doesn't correlate to the playoffs, or if your team's out of it, whatever, it doesn't mean anything. I think it still means a ton to both of these rosters, but I still like Tennessee in this.
I'm going to fade you. I'm going to roll with Vandy. I think, like, the explosive plays, whenever Vanderbilt is able to generate explosive plays through the air with their weapons and Diego Pavia, they win
Yeah.
games. When they're not able to do that, they don't win games. This is, example A
Yeah.
of teams in the SEC that you can do that against, where you can have success throwing bombs, scheming things up, right? You got one of the better offensive coordinators in the SEC. I mean, there's a load of them up at the top there, but they're doing a really nice job over there in Nashville. And I don't think going on the road, while it is tough at 2:30 start, it's going to be absolutely bananas there. I do like Vanderbilt in this spot. I mean, your two losses obviously came on the road, but you went into Williams-Brice and you absolutely blew them out. And this is another opportunity. You went into Virginia Tech, you went into Blacksburg, you absolutely blew them out. Those are two teams that have been susceptible to the explosive play at the second level. And when you're able to do that, you weren't able to do that against an Alabama secondary that was really good. You weren't able to do that against Texas in the first half. I should say first quarter of that game. But eventually, it kind of opened up there, just kind of like too little, too late for them in that one. I like Vanderbilt in this spot, man. I think we'd obviously be having a different conversation if Tennessee was healthy in that secondary. We'd be having a much different conversation because I think Tennessee would have, maybe had a couple more wins than they did if they had some of the elite talent that they were supposed to have there in the secondary completely healthy. But with that being said, the conversation being had amongst casuals saying that Josh Heupel is on the hot seat. What kind of conversations are we having? What are you watching? What games are we watching? Josh Heupel loses Nico Imalieva, right? Who in hindsight it's not amazing, but takes Joey Aguilar, who was pretty good in the Sun Belt. He was one of the better quarterbacks, upper echelon of quarterbacks in the Sun Belt, but he was by no means the best player in the Sun Belt. Yeah, you throw him into this Tennessee offense, and oh wait, you're a top 4 passing offense. You're a top 4 scoring offense in the entire country. You have a couple NFL receivers that weren't necessarily getting the NFL looks that they are now. Oh, and by the way, with the threat of the arm, it's help you open up this run game, especially in the second half of the season. Yeah, unbelievable job by Josh Heupel in this staff to get Joey Aguilar ready for the season. It didn't have a spring or anything like it. Just unbelievable job. I think by both of these coaches, and I think they're both getting rewarded by what is a very important game, very important rivalry game against two ranked teams. With Tennessee obviously playing for a better bowl game, and Vanderbilt playing for the college football playoffs, maybe. But we're as fans gonna be rewarded with absolute fireworks in this one.